Hello everyone and welcome to Family Life. I hope you had a great week. Thank you so much for all your comments that have been trailing some of our last and recent discussions. It's been really interesting to know what you think and what you would share as your perspective to some of the issues, of course, that trail the country Nigeria. The tales of the country continue day by day, even up to discussions that one would wonder, should we peradventure be exploring some of them? But guess what? The tales of Nigerian politics do better when it comes from Family Live and when you do write in to say what you do have to say. Welcome to the show today. I am Family Live. It's been interesting the last few weeks, or should I say days now, a lot of the comments and possibly personality features that some of the proposed candidates, and I say proposed candidate because a lot of the parties have not conducted their primaries, apart from some of them that we feel are obvious enough in the lead to get the ticket of their party. The parties have not conducted their primaries. However, some of the proposed candidates have taken out time to sell their features. Some of the features would include how far can you walk, how long can you walk, and the likes of what you would do differently against the man or the woman that would possibly be running for office. Let's go into some interesting personality features that have been discussed in recent times. I took our time to make a very short note of them. And what I find interesting about this note is the fact that in the center of this discussion is the fact that I'm wondering, when did walking, for example, and I talk about walking, become so very important to national development or some sense of intelligence around democracy? I have a toddler, a toddler friend, let me put it that way, a lovely dude. He does all he can to escape from his nanny, from crawling, and at some point in time, he leans over the door and tries to walk as fast as he can just to escape from his nanny's care in order just to get to me. It's one of the most amazing things I experience from time to time. Just seeing that toddler make an escape in his own way, even though many of us will laugh and say, oh, he's a toddler. How much speed or momentum can he really get up to before the nanny catches up with him? But then I'm also wondering, the politicians we have and the proposed candidates that we do have attempting to run for office and also trying to get the attention of over 200 million people, are they like toddlers? Are they crawling or are they walking or barely finding their feet on their legs and trying to find out what it will take to run the cause of the nation or run with the wind of the nation or speed up to make a difference? In recent times, President Buhari, of course, has been taking out time from medical leave. He has now proceeded to much of the needed rest in his village in Dara. And yes, much of the celebration, but I guess would have to be the fact that he took a walk, 800 meters walk. But this wouldn't have been an issue for him or for any of us to really be paying attention to, except the fact that the presidential arm of government decided to discuss this and make it a political issue, and even close enough for everyone to consider that it's a democratic thing when your leader can walk 800 meters. I find that quite interesting, and that makes him fit as a fiddle, if I would say, and that makes him strong and makes him, well, the man that is able to stay in office to run the affairs of the country for 4 years. But that's not even just the deal. I find it also very amazing when another proposed candidate, Atiku Abubakar, also did the same and pictured himself on the treadmill, discussing how efficient it takes his exercise and how efficient that exercise has been for him over the years and how devoted he is, and his devotion to his exercise can be sort of described as being some sort of analogy to how well he would run the nation if he's given the chance. And I'm trying to understand now, as Nigeria or the country Nigeria, is it being expressed as a nation where your physical exercise is an attribute of how well you'll be able to upgrade or do some of the issues or attend to issues that have to do with democracy in the country? Is working really hard different from walking really hard? Walking and walking, is it the same in this same sense of intelligence, or the democratic intelligence around this is gaining ground? Now, for the other proposed candidates around the corner, some have not been exercising, but it hasn't stopped them from making comments about the idea of exercise, and even going as far as to say, if you lead me to it, one of the biggest exercises I would do is to move around the minimum wage of the country. I will set it from where it is at 18,000 naira or thereabout as far as I can to 100,000 naira. And one new debate comes up, the question of, okay, if you as a candidate is saying 100,000 naira, does it mean other factors that affect spending would also not move if you peradventure get into the 100,000 mark? It also tells you a little bit about how well or how not well some candidates know about economics, or they care about the idea of economics in its own sense, and the microeconomy and all it takes to move everything together when you put them all together. Now, whether we are working hard or we are working hard, recent times a report by Bloomberg puts Nigerians as one of the hardest immigrants living in the United States, ranked at 71%. They're ranked just behind the likes of Ghana among the immigrant countries that live in the United States that work really hard. And I'm wondering, is it so true that when we see Nigerians who work really hard when they get outside the country, is it the system that makes them work really hard, or the earning that they need to get? Many of us will recall we just went on some Salah holiday. I can imagine how difficult it was for you to get out of bed and for you to attend to the daily proceedings. I say that not with the measure of to cut back on anybody, but to say to you, that is the same feeling I have. The feeling of rising up to go to work, or rising up to start to walk, if I even have to walk, if it's 800 meters. And let me round up this very edition by saying, somebody said, and I would like to paraphrase, I can't remember his exact name. He said, if it's based on how hard that I walk around this nation every day as part of the workforce of this country, day and night, then I'm almost certain that I should be the ruler of the world. Because by the time you measure all the distance that I cover on my feet, one way or the other, I deserve to be the ruler of the world. Is walking really a measure or a qualitative measure of leadership? Well, or is that something to rush to? Like the slogan at the time says, "Now them the rushers." Thanks for listening in. Remember to subscribe to this channel. The button is just below here. And as well, watch live on Facebook at any other time. You can always catch up with the show. I'm available on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all the other platforms at Femidi Live. It's always a delight to know what you think. Will you size up all the work you've done? Will that get you some level of leadership in your village if you're leading by walking? Thanks for listening in, and have a good day.